Hi, this is Gael Sylvia, and you are watching SylviaGlobal.com. I'm extremely excited to have you joining us today because I have an opportunity to introduce a new host here on Sylvia Global Media. Her name is Deb Sofield, an amazing public speaker, a trainer, an international trainer, and an international platform speaker. But what Deb is best known for and followed for is encouraging you to live your best life. Coming to us live from Greensboro, Greenville, South Carolina, Deb Sofield. Thank you so much for being here, Deb. How are you?
I'm good, friend. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. Tell us, Deb, who is Deb Sofield? What do you do? In your own words, describe yourself.
Sure. Okay, so I would hope that people would say that I'm an energetic speaker, that when you're done with a Deb Sofield seminar, you walk away with actionable items. So I like to describe myself as a motivational teacher. A lot of people are motivational speakers and, rah, 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 and then tomorrow you don't know what to do. So I like to do a different type of format that gives you actionable items to change your life. So believe it or not, I grew up in the South. I am the youngest of 5, all brothers. It's a blended family, but as I tell my friends, I learned how to punch hard and run fast at a very young age. I am in politics. I've been elected for about 14 years now, and I have won and I've lost, but winning's more fun, so I maintain a political office, and I still do that today. And I got into politics because I wanted to see change. I didn't like the way things were, and I felt like I had what I call righteous indignation. I was right, they were wrong. And so I jumped in, and I was able to be elected. And I tell folks I'm elected by choice and not by chance. My district knows who I am and what I believe. And now, what's fascinating and something I'm grateful for is I literally teach around the world. I teach your campaign speech, how to run campaigns, how to be a woman in this very tough business. We don't have to be men to be successful in politics. As a woman, you can be very successful. But people hear women differently. And so it's very important that a woman understands what the audience expectation would be from her campaign. I teach at the Kennedy School up at Harvard, and I am the public speaking trainer at the Women's Campaign School at Yale University, the best 5-day women's campaign school in the country. And then I teach across the country. I also teach internationally. I work for a group out of Washington that sends me to different countries. Because what's interesting, Gail, as you go around the world, many countries have so many seats in Parliament that they've set aside for women. And so what happens is a woman is put into this position, and suddenly she gets there and she looks around and she's like, I kind of like this. How can I do more? And I'm brought in to help them learn how to do more. Because we know, without a doubt, that when you put women in government office, that things seem to change. More voices are brought to the table. Things are not done by fiat, but by committee and commission. And a lot of good things happen. So I have a very varied business, but everything falls under public speaking. I'm also author of a book, Speak Without Fear. And so if you were to take my business and put me in a circle, I'm a national speaker. I train in business and politics, and primarily I do men and women, so I don't do really a differential. And then I have this really great business that I don't tell a lot of people about, but I'm very well known. I'm an interview coach in the pageant business. So I work with Miss America, Miss USA. I've got more girls in the top 10 than any coach in the Southeast. And what I do is I explain where Afghanistan is. And if you're in a pageant, you need to know that. And I got to tell you, I love my girls. They do terrific. They end up being just tremendous leaders. I tell folks I was its greatest skeptic until I met a young girl who looked across the table and said to me, Miss Deb, you're my ticket out of the trailer park. And I thought, wow. See, if she could win her pageant, it would be enough money to go to college. And in the South, a lot of people don't go to college. So I changed from being kind of snarky to being an amazing pageant coach to help girls have a chance at life. Now, what's funny, I sit at all these tables in Washington, D.C., and people are offended that I do that until I say, well, how many girls have you sent to college? And, of course, they can't name one. And I probably have 38 under my belt. So it's a great business.
Deb, how did you find your calling?
Thank you. That was interesting. When I was in college, I wanted to be a coach. I love sports. I played basketball all my life, soccer, softball, badminton, you name it, I played it. Remember, I had 5 brothers, and most every sport needs a fifth player. So as a young kid, my brothers drugged me into all these sports, which is interesting because I asked my brother Joel a few years ago, why'd you drag me into all these sports? And he simply said, well, Deb, we never wanted you to be a boring date. Okay. So I learned how to play pretty much every sport, so I wanted to be a coach. And I remember saying to my parents, hey, I think I'm going to take this track to be a coach. And my mom and dad were like, no, we're not going to pay for that. Oh, no. So I had to figure out what else I did well, because I did sports very well. And then we realized I had a gift of gab. I could talk to anybody. I got in trouble usually in college and high school for talking to everybody. So I went ahead on a track for public speaking, and very hard degree to get. You know, most people have to write a thesis. My graduation was an hour presentation in front of about 600 to 1,000 people, memorized on a stage, and that's how I got my degree. So I have a degree in Bachelor of Arts in Public Speaking. And it's one thing I learned early on because I always enjoyed politics. I interned in Washington when I was a kid. I worked on campaigns. I was a little odd like that. I like red, white, and blue. I like barbecue and hot dogs. So I love the political. I love the political nature because I love people who want to change their world or their corner of the world. And it was something that really appealed to me. So public speaking fit right in. Politics fit right in. And then I was able to hang a shingle. I owned an ad agency for a while. We did political campaigns. And then I hung a shingle as an executive speech and corporate presentations coach. So I have a pretty large business now as a private coach. So if you've got to make a major presentation, I'm the one they call, or I teach classes and I work for major corporations. But I got into it because truly, Gail, it was the only thing I was good at. It's what I excelled at. It's what I loved. And I realized early on if you could sway the masses, you could do anything. And I wanted to sway the masses for good.
What about your book, Speaking Without Fear?
Yay, Speak Without Fear. Finally,
there it is.
Finally made it.
How long did it take you?
It was a labor of love. It's funny, they say it takes a village to like build a child. It took a small nation to get my book off the ground. You know, I had a writing coach because it's different speaking than having to write. I don't use punctuation when I speak. And every English teacher in America throws their hands up in frustration. I tend to use ... or a dash. And so when I would write, they would be like, Deb, you need a comma. But I don't think that way. So I had a writing coach who was excellent. And the book has really been, it's been wonderful because, unfortunately, people expect people like me to have accomplished a goal like that. So everywhere I would go, people would say, hey, a great speech, you have a book? And honestly, I got tired of saying no. And I decided to say, yes, I have a book. And now actually I have a second one coming out and probably a third. So once you get in the habit and discipline, the others come along a little easier.
Did you have to dig deep within in order to bring that book out?
Actually, no. I just had to get my work done.
You just had to sit still and do it. That's a message to me, right, that you're giving to me.
Yeah, I got to tell you. You know what? It's Gail, it's inside of us. It's the discipline of my friends joke that I have ADD. In the middle of something, I'm like, squirrel. And they're like, Deb, go to work. So I really had to struggle of literally sitting here hour after hour. I can remember working 5 and 6 hours a day on the book just because I needed it to sound like me. Even though I had a writing coach, I don't want a book written by someone else. I want my book. And I don't want you to read this book and go, well, that doesn't sound like Deb. No, this book sounds like Deb. And I found that to be a good thing. A lot of folks don't do it that way. They hire someone to write a book, and it's not them.
It's not in their voice. And we have to own our authentic voice, even if we have coaching assistant. I mean, you're a coach in your area of specialty, and then you secure the assistance of a coach where you needed support using your area of specialty, a book.
Yep, right. And you got to do a radio show, so I'm on every week on the radio. It's a talk show, and that took a lot of learning. I mean, that's a strong discipline. You know as well as I do, Gail, people think it comes easy, but they don't realize the work we've done in the background
to
make ourselves ready to be able, because you know what, just talking doesn't win people over. You need content.
And good quality content.
Yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt.
So tell our audience what you'll be bringing to them here on Sylvia Global, because you've got amazing content that exists, which they can find at debsofield.com. And you'll also be here at sylviaglobal.com on a weekly basis. And so share with us what some of that content looks like.
Thank you. And thank you so much for letting me be on Sylvia Global. What a wonderful opportunity for me just to partner with you, somebody I admire and respect, and a friend. So, Gail, what I hope to bring to the audience as we come online is I really believe there are so many times in your life where you just come to a standstill. And I want to be that person that encourages you to keep moving forward. I had my radio show for a year was called Speak Without Fear, which is great. We've now moved it over to encouraging you to live your best life ever. Now, I know a lot of people use that term, but I use it differently in the fact that I give you actionable items to do today and tomorrow to move forward. I'm not a snarky speaker. I'm not going to be insulting to you. I'm not going to... There's a couple women on radio, and I don't care for that sort of an attitude. I want to be the friend who walks alongside. If you fall, I may not catch you, but I won't let you get too hurt. Because sometimes in the learning, you can pick yourself back up and be a better person. I come from this from another perspective as a woman of faith. See, I believe we're all given a purpose. And my purpose is to speak, and I hope you hear, and I hope the message rings clear. One thing I learned early on as a speaker, you may not like me, Deb Sofield the person, but I hope you would remove me from the mix and believe this message, because I believe I have a gift that I can give that could help you get on with your life and learn to live your best life ever. Because, friends, so many times the only person who stands in our way is us. And man, that's just not right.
And you'll be showing. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
You'll be showing the audience or providing them with tips and tools on how to get themselves out of the way but still love themselves and value themselves.
And you know what? In today's environment, I'm finding more and more people, it's like they're lacking the self-love. Not ego-driven,
right,
but just a simple understanding that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And you have a calling. Why have you not stepped into the light? Why have you not stepped into the light?
What have been some of the reasons that you've observed in other people for why they have not stepped into the light?
Gail, I'm going to tell you it's fear. And it's also too many people have voices in their heads that are not saying nice things. And here's the problem. The higher you climb, the more people want to tear you down because their life isn't great. So heaven forbid your life be great. And I am a strong believer, if you're in a relationship that is damaging, walk away. It's not going to get better. I know people want you to pray over it and do all these other things. Hey, good. I hope all that works. If it doesn't, set a time frame and walk away. You have friends that don't believe in you. You have friends that don't encourage you, all right? Find new friends. Will you be lonely? Absolutely. But I would rather be alone than have people who don't build me up. I read an article the other day and it said I would rather have 4 friends that are worth $1 than 100 friends that are worth a penny. Hey, I like that.
Yeah. What about family?
Family's tough. You're supposed to like them. They're supposed to like you. And sometimes family can be, I don't know. My family's very encouraging. Maybe because if they weren't, they know I'd haul off at them. But, at the end of the day...
You learn how to hit hard and run fast.
Well, my brothers know that. It's funny, my mom and dad, I grew up in the South. They wanted me to be a little princess. They got the bruiser all those years of sports. But I'll tell you, Gail, family should be the foundation. But you know what, friends? If it's not the end of the world. You just go find somebody who loves you. And if nobody loves you, then you love yourself enough and believe in a creator that made you and gave you a purpose. Now live up to what you've been given. Because you know what? You can give me every excuse in the book. And as you stand in your end days, there is no one going to stand with you but you. You know the old line. On your tombstone are 2 dates, the day you were born and the day you die. And in between is a dash. And Gail, that dash tells the world how you lived. How are you living? Because I'm telling you what, friend, the end is coming. So what am I going to remember you by?
You have a weekly blog and e-blast that goes out, which I look forward to every Tuesday morning, hearing that cling, that little ding in my inbox. It comes in early, and it's, oh, that must be from Deb. And I look forward to it the same way, Deb, quite candidly, that I look forward to other sources of inspiration, my quiet time reading my Bible, books that I'm reading, and to know that you're bringing a message on a regular basis of inspiration and encouragement that's not the normal stuff that we get bombarded with. It's so refreshing. So today, yours says, when your past calls don't answer, it has nothing new to say.
That's right.
Our audience can find this at debsofield.com, but this is an example of the kind of visual message you'll also be bringing to sylviaglobal.com in our audience. Talk to us about your message today.
Thank you. When your past calls don't answer, it has nothing new to say. I have a friend, pardon me, excuse me, terrible situation. His wife walked in one day and said, you know, I don't love you anymore. I'm sorry. We've been married about 1.5 years. She said, I'm not taking anything because the situation is mine. I just want out of this marriage. And she left the keys on the table and walked out the door.
Wow.
That was 8 years ago.
Wow.
This guy not only carries his phone with him, he picks it up occasionally to see if the receiver is still working, because he won't let go of that hurt. That's his loving, it's his exquisite pain and his burden. Hey, without a doubt, that's got to be the hardest thing that would ever happen to somebody. I get that, but it's over. And the only person who is being hurt is you. I believe she's gone on and remarried. She has a completely different life, and he still waits every day, angry about his past. And you know what's interesting is if you were to say look forward, he's afraid because he's so bought into she's wrecked his life. And you know what? I don't agree with that. I think it is wrong that he just hangs on to that pain. The problem is we love our pain because it's what we know, it's what we're comfortable with. But that is not moving you forward. And you and I know when we get to tough times in our life, it's like those voices in your head, and it's like, oh, poor me. No, not poor you. Get off the dime and get moving. Because your past is either going to wreck you, or it is a foundation from where you stand looking to your future. I liked that message. And it was interesting. I had so many responses today from people who said, man, I need to hear that one today. Why? Because everybody in hard times, it's odd. It's odd that you would like to think of yourself as a failure. That is beyond my comprehension. I wake up every day and say, Deb Sofield, you are a rock star. I have a mindset that it's going to be a good day. I don't have a choice. I'm in the encouragement business. Now, do I have bad days? Absolutely. I'm not a nut. Of course I do. Do I dwell on them? No. I try to figure out something to do. Listen, I may clean out the closet, I may vacuum the car, but I won't focus on something that brings me down because life is too short. I'm living in the dash. Gail, I'm living in the dash, and I'm going to make it count. And I'm tired of people looking at their past, complaining, assuming that's going to be their future. So, done with it. Hey, I've got a great message coming up this week, too, I got to tell you. It's about being who you are. If you want to be somebody, then you need to respect yourself, mirror who you want to be, know what's going on in your life so you can be your best. I'm excited about this week's message also.
Guess what? I'm excited about you being here. We're quite honored. Deb Sofield, thank you so much for joining us here at sylviaglobal.com. You can learn more about Deb at sylviaglobal.com and also follow her at debsofield.com. Deb, we'll see you again next week. You'll be on your own show here, and look forward to wonderful, inspirational messages. And you could be called Rabbi Deb, Pastor Deb.
I've been called a lot of things.
President Deb. But congratulations, and thank you for the wonderful life that you lead, Deb, by example to make the rest of us live our best lives. Thank you so much. I've been your host, Gael Sylvia, and you're watching sylviaglobal.com. See you again soon. Have a wonderful day. that dash in between the beginning and the end. That's what you have an opportunity to create today. Bye, Deb.
Bye-bye.